All right, cool. So I'm talking about dropping bombs. So you guys will definitely want to grab some pen and some paper immediately. And let's make this nice and small. All right, wonderful. So talking about dropping bombs, first thing I want to attack is, what do you think about dropping bombs? So what I mean by dropping bombs is not, anyways, it means selling. All right, so it means selling. All right, selling what?
Sets.
Yes. Yes, big sets. All right, so dropping bombs, what I mean is selling big. All right, we have 3 bigger sets. What are they? Homemaker, Signature, Ultimate, right? Okay, so that's what we're really going to be talking about. So the first thing, anytime we're talking about anything that's regarded to result, so this might be first thing you write down, anything that's regarding results, the first thing we're always going to attack and talk about is what? Mindset. Mindset. Okay. So, like I said earlier, confidence is key. All right. Confidence is key in making sales and key in asking a girl or a guy out. It's also key in just life in general, right? The person, so I'd write this down, the person who has the stronger belief in what they are saying will make the sale. The person who has the stronger belief in what they are saying will make the sale. Every single appointment you do, guys, there's a sale being made. You are either selling Miss Jones on why Cutco is worth it and affordable, or she is either selling, or she's selling you on why she can't afford it and it's not worth it. Okay? Every single appointment that you go on, there will be a sale made. Either you made the sale or she made the sale. I'd also write down that they're only comfortable buying what you're comfortable selling. They're going to only be comfortable buying what you're comfortable selling. So you need to ask yourself, what are you comfortable selling, right? What is a big order to you? Where is your mindset? Another thing that you want to have in mind is that eventually they're going to own it all. Eventually they will get everything. And it's either going to come from you or from somebody else, so why not you? That should be your mindset. You want to ask yourself, what is a big order to me? Is it a 500 plus order? Is it 1,000 plus CPO? Is it 2,000 plus CPO? What is a big order to me? Go ahead and write the number down. Why not? All right, you guys got to understand $1,000 is not anything. All right, now I know it's hard right now to kind of think of it like that, but you guys are not in your customer's shoes, right? In training, we talk about, hey, what was a lot of money to an elementary school student, right? $5, right? What was a lot to a middle school student? Like $20, right? What's a lot to a high school student? Like $100+ bucks, right? Well, when you move off to college, or let's say you stay at home, right? That $100 doesn't even buy a quarter of a text, well, a half of a textbook. Am I right? How much are textbooks? Sometimes like $300, right? Now, if they are used, sometimes you get down to like $150, $200, right? But if it's like a hardbound book, right? If you're going to university, it's going to be $300 if it's new. Okay. So think about that. You spend over $1,000 in books each semester and you're a college student. And these are just for books that you'll use for 6 months. By the way, who a lot of the times, if you're not on scholarship, pays for those? Yeah. Well, and I'm not talking about you guys specifically, right? And a lot of you will, but like a lot of kids, you know, who pays for it? A lot of their parents are paying for it, right? So they're buying their homemaker for their student each and every semester if they're not on scholarship and they're not on their own.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So I have had these people that like the set,
Mm-hmm.
and then I told them, like, but they cannot afford it at times. Like, well, there's like this 5-month plan. And they said, well, but I wanna buy all at once. I don't like buying stuff.
Mm-hmm. Putting on payments.
Yeah, putting on payments because I don't like debt or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
How do you react to that? Or
Absolutely. So there's 2 ways of looking at that. First, you could say, well, I could have done a better job building the value and how affordable it is, right? And why it really is worth it. So a lot of times, and this is what we just got from Trey. He was literally just saying this, talking about AT1 and teaching the reps in AT1. But if the customer If the customer is having an appointment with a college student, right? What do you think of when you think of a college student? Broke, tired, hungry, ramen noodles, right? Partying, cheap beer, you know what I mean? Late nights, okay? Like that's what comes to mind when you think of a college student. So having that information and knowing that if I'm an adult, right, speaking with a college student that asks me to buy something expensive, I'm going to play my best card and I'm going to say, I can't what? Afford it, right? When you guys got to understand, $1,000, there is no way, shape, and form anybody who's over 30 that has a job could not afford a homemaker, right? Homeowners, there's no shot they couldn't afford a homemaker in full, not on the 5-month plan, in full. So that's where your mentality has to be. That's where your confidence has to be. And when you have that confidence, you will convey that confidence to your customers, and they'll be on the same page, and they won't be giving you the for lack of a better term, BS excuses that I can't afford it. Right now, so you can either look at it as, hey, I could have done better at the beginning of my appointment, and building up the price expectancy, so that way they're expecting to be $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for the homemaker set. And then when we go over the homemaker set, it's more of like, oh, okay, right? I thought it was going to be much more. Here it is, right? This is a great value, right? I can see why I should do this, right? So that problem can a lot of times be handled before the objection even comes up. And when it comes to handling objections, you want to handle them before they come up. Because think about this. If you were trying to ask mom to go out, you're in high school, right? And your curfew is 11, right? Well, you're not just going to say, hey, mom, I know you're not going to say, hey, mom, I want to stay out till 1 a.m. because you know what the answer is going to be. No, your curfew is 11. So instead, what you're going to do, you're going to handle the objection before it comes up. Hey, mom, so, I got this big event going on tonight, right? Not party, event going on, and I'm really, really excited about it. Like all my friends are going, and, the thing is that we're staying over there till 1 a.m. And I know that's past my curfew, but I just wanted to let you know that I'll be home by 1 a.m. I have a ride. We're going to get here safely. We're going to Uber home. And I wanted to let you know that if you're willing to do that, then I would not go out next weekend, and I'll help with the chores or whatever, right? You know what I mean? You'll handle the objection before it comes up. That's always one of the big key ways to do it. Now, if somebody were to say, hey, like we want to just pay for it all in full, it's like, hey, Miss Jones, I'm the exact same way. And so many people will do this as well. But one of the great things about the 5-month plan is that you get 3 full weeks to make sure you love it and try it out. And this goes for paying in full as well, of course. But a lot of people will just put the little $275 down and try it out and make sure they love it. Because let me ask you this. Do you think you and your husband would get a better idea for the quality and whether or not you're going to get value from this product from, just this hour of like talking about it? Or do you think like 3 weeks of trying it out, using it for your family and preparing meals, do you think you get a better sense of the value after that? Yeah, absolutely. So many customers that are in your situation, what they'll do is if they're a little bit on the edge, they'll either put the full 1273 down, or they'll just put the 275 down, try it out for 3 full weeks. That way they're making like a small decision today, but not a final decision until they try it out in their home with their families for 3 full weeks. That way they can make sure that they're making the right decision. So what we can do today is you can just put the 275 down, try it out for 3 full weeks. And if you do see the value and you do think that it's a good investment, then what you can do is just pay it off at that point. Okay. Or what you could do is you could just put the 1273 down right now. And then if you don't like it, you send it back and get your 1273 back. Okay. Most people, what they'll do is they'll put it on a credit card. And after about 3 weeks go by, if they don't like it, they'll send it back. And if it was just on their credit card, they didn't even have to pay off the statement before they, sent it back. So if they do end up sending it back, they didn't even spend any money because they haven't even paid off their credit card yet. Okay. So that kind of answer your question there? All right, cool. And that's the way to go with that. I wouldn't try and try and resell them on why it's worth it. You with me? That happens before. Okay, cool. Good question. But $1,000 is not much, guys. You got to understand that if they couldn't afford $1,000, they also couldn't afford their mortgage. They couldn't afford the 275 on the 5-month plan. And guess what? Car would be getting repoed because they couldn't afford their car payment. And I doubt you're seeing people who are getting the foreclosure sign during the middle of the demo, like posted on their door, or, look out the window during the middle of the demo and like there's a guy, hooking up the car and repoing it, right? Like I doubt that's happening on any of your appointments, especially if they're HM3s like they're supposed to be. So, yeah. Anyways, everybody can afford $1,000. What's up, Clay?
I was going to say, that's happened to me before too. And basically what I said was to try it out for 3 weeks with a small percent deposit, make your decision then. And then you can also just tell them, when you call the customer service, you can just tell them to pay it all off then. They could do it like even after the 2 months.
Yeah, perfect. They can do it at any point in time. They can literally put down the 275, call them up the next day and be like, hey, yeah, we just want to pay it in full. Yep, absolutely. Just like they can send it back at any point within the 3 weeks. You guys got to understand, like I was talking about with like the elementary school kid, right? And then like a college student, right? What's a lot of money to a college student? Like $1,000, right? Well, think about it. That was like I don't know how many year process, but you know, if we were going by like 2 to 4 year jumps, right? Elementary school, middle school, high school, college student, right? Well, college student, let's call him 20 years old or 20 years old, right? We're jumping to 30 years old now, right? Or like 40, maybe even 50 in some cases. Because who do we go see? Majority of them are somewhere between 30 to 55 or 60, right? So having said that, we're taking a huge leap from 20 to 30. And what happens between 20 to 30? Well, they find a career. They get into a job that's going to be their career, right? They might get, people we want to see are married, right? So what's going to happen is they have 2 incomes. They're in a career with better, income opportunities, right? And they have a family. A lot of cases, they're starting a family and or have a family already if they're like, past 30. So understand that big jump makes it such a drastic difference in the way that they look at money and like how much they spend. All right. They have so many bills. Go home and ask mom or dad tonight, how many, not how much, like how much you spend in bills per month. How many different bills do you have per month? I bet they couldn't tell you off the top of their head. I don't know, 15, 20, 30. I don't know. There's so many different bills that are just like set up on automatic bill pay or recurring bill pay, right? They don't even know how many they have. I couldn't even tell you how many. I'm 24. You with me? So if they're like 30, 35, 40, right? They probably have even more than I do, even if they don't own a business. Just because they got, kids' bills and stuff like paying for school, paying for doctors, right? Paying for all this other stuff that I have no clue about. Anyways, $1,000 is not a lot of money to your customers. And you guys want to start to think that way. One of the big perks I had when I started the job is I had been working construction for 1.5 years before I started working here. So I think it was like, I don't know, it was somewhere between 5 and 10 grand, like saved over like a 2-year period of working at this construction company by the time I got started here. So they gave the homemaker price and I was like, I could buy 4 right now in cash. So I had a confidence like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna sell the crap out of this stuff. I could afford it. I'm freaking 20, right, at the time. And I'm going to see 30, 40, 50-year-olds. Like if I look at $1,000 and I say I can spend this and I see the value and I would probably buy that, right, on $275, the 5-month plan. It's like, well, what are homeowners going to do? They're going to eat this stuff up. So that's where your confidence level needs to be. That's where your mentality needs to be. It's like, hey, if they don't buy this homemaker, I did something wrong. Going back to the taking blame and not giving blame, taking ownership, like, hey, I'm in control of my destiny. And that's one of the things I love about the job, especially as a representative position, is like you have the control of your destiny. You can decide what your closing ratio is. You can decide what your average order is. Obviously, there's a lot of things that go into it, right? Like getting recommendations, making sure you qualify your leads, making sure you're reaching out to your best people. Hey, out of these 10 recommendations, who would you go see first? They give you the top 3 people who they think would buy the most, essentially, right? Like doing all of those things and then making sure you're working on your business, not in your business, not just in your business, right? So working on your business would be like coming to events like this, listening to a dropping bombs talk, right? Listening to a recommendation objection talk, right? So that way you are better at your job when you go and do it. Right? You see how you're not getting paid today to do this, but you're going to get paid more long-term. So I do want to say kudos to you guys for making the investment in yourself, because this will, as long as you put in the things that you learn and implement the things that you learn today, it will dictate how much, more you can earn. That level of the ability to implement what you've been taught. And then not to mention, by the way, we do payments, right? Like, so it makes it so much more affordable. You should have the mentality and mindset that the homemaker is the basic set. It barely gets you by. It's perfect for people who, one, don't like to cook, like hate cooking, right? Here's the example I like to use with that. And I don't say this on appointments, but just so you guys can understand, right? Like if you were a mechanic, right, and you had to fix cars, right, but you hated fixing cars, like you did not enjoy it at all, then would you want one screwdriver to fix a car? No, because it would take forever and it would suck and you would hate it, right? Somebody who loved it might be like, oh, this is fun. It's, figure it out, right? But somebody who hates being a mechanic, they're going to dread their work. So they wouldn't want the master set with every single tool in the entire face of the planet, but they'd want the least number of tools, they get 100% of the jobs done as quickly and efficiently as possible. So now do you see how somebody who hates to cook needs the homemaker? Because now you're going to be able to get in and out of the kitchen as quickly as possible. So that way you don't have to spend any extra time doing things that you don't enjoy. And you can get back to your family and friends and doing the things that you love to do. Okay. It's about efficiency when it comes to people who don't like to cook or they hate to cook, right? Like, have you guys ever gotten like oh, I hate to cook or I don't enjoy cooking, right? Well, then you might want to say, hey, Miss Jones, this is the perfect set for you guys because like you said, you hate to cook, but he's got the least number of tools to get done 100% of the project or 100% of the jobs as quickly and efficiently as possible. And here's the line. So that way you don't have to spend any extra time wasting, any extra wasted time doing things that you don't want to do. And then it's also for people who never cook, right? I mean, unless they got a big house and you say, hey, Miss Jones, you want to get this, right? This is too small. You look small in your kitchen, right? And then it's for college students. Like I had a homemaker as a college student because I branched. And then they gave you a homemaker, by the way. Little side note, go branch. And then this is a good one as well. So you want to write this down. Your average order is usually 1/4 of your starting price. Well, I think the national average order is right around like 300 because we started the homemaker. Okay. So one of the ways to increase your average order is to start higher, right? The higher you start, the higher you land. Okay. One of the biggest things that made a difference in my fast start in my first summer as a representative is I actually liked the signature the most. Now, if I could go back, I would be like, yo, you need to fall in love with the ultimate, right? Because I would have sold some more of those. I didn't sell one ultimate my first summer, but I did sell more signatures than I sold homemakers. Right? And the reason why is because people don't buy products from you. People buy your conviction and your belief in your products that you're selling to them. All right. They don't buy the products. They buy your belief. They don't buy the knives. They buy the fact that you genuinely believe that they should buy it and that they'll benefit from owning it and get value from owning it. That's what they're buying into. They're buying into the idea of buying Cutco. They're not buying a homemaker. They're not buying an ultimate. They're not buying a signature. All right. You want to get good at selling them on the idea of owning Cutco, something that's guaranteed to last forever, right? A legacy set, something you can pass down from generation to generation. It's going to be in your family longer than you'll be around. Okay, like you're not going to say things like that, but that's the concept that you guys want to be getting across to your customer. All right. But yeah, do the demo for the customer. This is a big one. So this is all still under mindset. Okay. Doing the demo for the customer versus doing the demo to make a sale. Okay. It should be like almost conversational, right? The appointment should be like conversational. It shouldn't be like, oh, should I speak up now if they're the customer, right? It should be like almost conversational. They're involved. And you want to really cater to your customers. Cater to your customers. How are you going to do that? You're going to do that by actively listening to what they're saying. And that's where the whole conversational side of the appointment comes into play. Like I said, I've had 6-hour appointments before, not like a lot of them, but like a few of them. And they were always at least a signature. Every single one of them. One of them might have been a homemaker. I doubt it. And the reason why is because when you build such a strong connection with your customers, they have such a strong conviction in what you're saying, then you can be suggestive. And when you say, hey, Miss Jones, I think that this is the best set for you, well, they believe it, right? And it's not like you're fibbing to them. It's you're being truthful, honest, and they can tell. And it goes back to they buy your belief in your products, not the products from you. They're buying the belief system.
Y'all know how much this Cutco this man has sold. Boy, I'll be taking some good notes.
All right. So suggestive selling, like I said, be an active listener. If you really listen to your customer, then you will figure out what she is looking for. At least you'll be able to get a better idea of what appeals to her. And then you can cater towards them. So, but you have to listen first. You have to be aware of what they're saying, not just like, oh, I need to read this script to them. All right, I would never tell this. I would never give this message to a brand new representative. None of you are brand new representatives. You guys are ready to hear this, right? But the sooner that you can get your customers aware that you are here to help them out, find what they what they feel best fits their needs or their family's needs, the sooner that you start dropping a lot of bombs. All right, because at first there's a guard up, right? Salesman coming over, right? We're not going to buy anything. We're not going to buy anything, right? Well, the truth is that if they saw it in the store, some of them would buy it. But they're going to tell you no because that's that wall. That's that guard. So what do we have to do? We have to break down that guard. That's why the first step to any sale is building what? Rapport. What does it do? It breaks down the wall. Okay? So we have to break down that wall, and then we start to get them involved, right, with the conversation of the appointment, right? And they're involved, and they're saying things like, oh, yeah, I'd use that, or, hey, I probably wouldn't use that. Well, hey, what do you cook, right? And then you could get some ideas out there, and you could say, oh, then you would definitely use this for this. And you want to get one no and move on to make it seem smart. But by understanding what they would like, or what catches their eye, so to speak, and what appeals to them, you can better cater towards your customer on what you should promote and what you should emphasize, right? So for instance, if I know that they are, they eat a lot of vegetables and fruit, right? Well, then it's going to be really, really easy for me to understand that during the homemaker, I'm going to pass by some of the things like the meat knives, right? And I'm going to or if it is a meat knife, I'm going to put the emphasis on, hey, you could use this for, pineapples, right? For like the petite carver, right? I'm not going to dive in on how these are great for, chicken breast and all this other stuff, right? I'm going to dive in on how this is great for pineapples. Have you ever cut a pineapple before, right? And I know that we do that naturally, but it's a really simple example that you can hit on the certain ones that would be better for that. When I go over the butcher knife, I'm not going to say, hey, this is great for, your brisket, right? I'm going to say, Miss Jones, you will use this every time you cut a watermelon, a melon, a squash, anything that's like hard with a tough outer rind or a hard inner core. This is your go-to for this. See, most people don't even use this for meats, right? And that might not be the case, right? I don't know, right? But I would say, hey, most people in your situation don't even use this for meats that much. They'll use this for their melons. They'll use this for any of their tougher vegetables or fruits. Right now, do you see how she's like, oh, okay, I've shaped her mindset from this big knife, scary looking thing that looks like it's only used for cutting pigs, right? She's like, okay, I'd use this. You with me? All right, and that's what we're trying to do. We're getting them from, oh, okay, I wouldn't use that to, okay, I can see how I would use this. It's not that her, diet changed or the things that she enjoys to eat changed. It's the difference was me pointing out that she could use this for other things that she would get value from. Okay, instead of just reading what's on the manual. So being an active listener, so that way you can give extra input and advice. And like I said, you need to build that connection with the customer, so that way when you are suggestive selling, she buys into it and she's like, oh, okay, I could see he's right. Yeah, because we're all on the same page. We're on the same team. The last thing I had here is you're not doing something to your customers. You're doing something for your customers. I one time had a representative called me up. I think it was like it was his first weekend. He's like, Brent, I just left. I got her on the homemaker. I was like, all right, good job on selling the homemaker. Now, let me ask you this. How much money did you make? I think it was at 15%. So he was like, I made like $150, dude, in that 1 hour. He was fired up. I was like, nice, dude. So what's your plans for that 150? He's like, oh, well, I need to add this to my car or whatever, right? And I was like, oh, okay. So like, how long is it going to take you to invest that into your car? He's like, like a couple of days, like by the end of the week. And I was like, okay, well, hey, let me ask you, how long is Miss Jones going to have that homemaker? He was like, well, what do you mean? Like forever? I was like, oh, so who got who? Did you get her or did she get you? She got you because she's going to have it for the rest of her life. And you're going to spend that 150 in a couple of weeks at tops. So understand that you're doing something for your customers, not to your customers. So that's the overall, the basis of the mindset. Now I'm going to get into the actual content. Don't worry about trying to write down what I'm going to say here, because there's some paragraphs in here that might go over the top of your head and you're definitely not going to be able to write down. But what I will do is I'll get it out to the division, so that way you guys can implement what you want from what you hear today into your demos. Okay. So we're going to start from the beginning of the appointment and kind of go on through it, and hopefully we can get through as much as possible. We might be able to get to cookware and flatware. My guess is probably not, but I put it in this document so that way you can have it when I send it out. Nah, it's not like, nah, I'll just read it. I want you guys to be engaged with it and digest it. Don't worry about writing it from here on out. I did want you to write those mindset notes because those are really just notes. But when I'm kind of going through it, I think that you guys can just internalize it, listen, understand it, and then when I send out the document, you can just literally copy and paste it or print it out and cut it, put it in your manual, whatever you want to do. Because that's literally what I did for mine. I literally cut it, I printed it out, cut it, put it in my manual. Anyways, we're talking about rapport. So connect. The whole point is to connect with your customers. Use useful questions, okay? And this is a great thing for virtual demos as well. So this is the way you want to word it. Remember, you get to shape the way that they view things based on the way that you word and present it, right? So instead of saying, hey, how often do you eat at home, or how often do you cook? I could say, hey, how often do you guys go out to eat a week? Do you guys, go out like 2 to 3 times, 1 time a week, right? Like, what is it? Usually it's 2 to 3 times, okay? Oh, we got like 2 to 3 times. Okay, so out of like the 21 meals, right? Because there's 3 meals a day, 7 days a week. So that's 21 meals per week. You only eat about like 2 to 3 out. So you guys cook a lot. Do you see how I got her thinking like, wow, we do cook a lot at home, right? And there from the beginning, I established a need, like, well, we actually do use this stuff all the time. And I reminded them that like, wow, there is a lot of meals in a week and they're going to get a lot of use out of this product right from the very beginning, which is a simple question. You ask like things like, what do you like to cook, right? And you just got to dig in. So here's the deal. You can be very general, or they'll give you very general answers if you're not like probing deep and like asking questions and like, digging for it, so to speak. Yeah, that's what I'll leave you out with that. And I'm just going to keep going. But you need to dig and ask more questions, because if you don't, then they're just going to be like, oh, we cook like fruits and vegetables and meats, right? I was like, oh, what kind of meats do you guys like to cook, right? Oh, what's your favorite, right? That's a good like little duo right there. It's like, oh, what kind of fruits do you like? Oh, what are like your favorites? Oh, what kind of vegetables do you guys cook up? What are your favorites, right? And the more you know your product, the better you can say when you get to certain things like, oh, this is what's going to be great for the corn, right? Or this is what's going to be great for, the whatever, right? By knowing what she's going to highlight very from the beginning in rapport what she likes. And then later on, when we get to the other stuff, you can use the suggestive selling to be like, oh, this is what you'd use this for. This is what you'd use this to cater to your customers. And that way they see the value in the set. Does that make sense? All right, cool. Find common ground and interest. That is not like, that's like kind of that's just rapport. It's not like has anything to suggestive selling or anything like that. But I like to find connections. And that's one of the ways that rapport will go really long, right? So if Mr. Jones is like, oh, I like to play golf. It's like, oh, me too. Except I'm like 100 shots per hole, right? Like I'll hit it, go straight right. And I'm just making small talk. And you see how we're connecting. That was just a very easy example, but you want to start to make connections, because the more like somebody is, like the more like you they are, the more they like you, if that makes sense, right? You ever met like a complete opposite and it's very hard for you to gel with them, and it's like, well, I can't connect with this person at all because you're like opposites, right? Now, sometimes opposites attract, but and depending on how good you are with rapport, that can make a difference, right? But if you find common interests between each other and common interests between you and their kids, right, then it's going to be so much easier for you to build that connection and demolish that wall, okay? Because remember, that's what rapport is about. You want to talk about things that they're proud of, right? Their children is one of the biggest things in their work, what they do for a living. All right. And don't open the blue book. They should initiate the presentation. Does anybody have their blue book with them?
Yeah.
Let's go. All right. Amber, right?
Yes.
Wonderful. Amber, pass it up. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Caleb. Wonderful. All right, great. So, because I will need this at some point. Let's see. All right. So with goal sharing, very, very simple. I don't like to open my book until it's time to share goals about like the All-American Scholarship and the Fast Start. But I'm going to keep it really, really easy for you. All that I really used to say was, hey, one of the reasons why I'm working so hard, Ms. Jones, is because I want to be able to, and this is a student example, I want to be able to gain enough income to where I can graduate debt-free all on my own. I don't want to have to rely on my parents for any help. I don't want to have to take out any loans and have to worry about paying those back. I want to be able to do this all on my own. I want to be able to take this opportunity here and use this as a chance to grow myself and become an adult. And that's one of the reasons why I'm working so hard. I want to be able to gain some income for school. Now, the second reason, and the even more important reason to me personally, is to be able to gain valuable work experience. I've never been, a professional, businessman before, obviously, but this job is giving me the opportunity to meet with so many individuals like yourself. And what I found is that each and every single presentation I do, my communication skills get better. My time management through the job gets better. Just my overall confidence gets better. And that's why I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch my presentation. And then this demo intro. So This demo intro is straight from what I used to say. And, you know, I'm a high innovator. High innovators know that you like to switch that manual up, okay? It took me a while before this even sounded good. So if you want to take it, take it. But hey, so Ms. Jones, before we even get into the presentation, I'd like to take this time to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch my presentation. And like I mentioned over the phone, you don't have to get anything because I do get paid just to show it. And I do want to let you know that Cutco is an extremely expensive product. However, I also want to let you know that I would never market a product as expensive as Cutco is unless I truly believed that it was 100% worth it. So having said that, if you do see something you like, please don't hesitate to get it today, because not only would you be getting a great product that's going to last your family forever, you'd also be helping me a ton towards my scholarship and my goals and graduating debt-free. And I just want to let you know as well that we have interest-free investment options. So if you do see something you like, you don't have to pay for it all at once. And so thanks again for taking the time out of your day to watch my presentation. It really does mean a lot. Okay. All right. So that was my demo intro. What did I do there? Said what? Very expensive. Well, yeah, I mean, we hit all the bases, right? I remind them of what we say over the phone. You don't have to get anything, get paid just to show it, right? I like, by the way, I don't know how everybody else does it, but I tell them the scholarships are based on performance, right? And when I'm setting up the appointment, I would say I get scholarship credit just to set up the appointment. I'm like, hey, Ms. Jones, and each appointment I set up gets me closer and closer to winning the scholarship. You see how I'm not fibbing there? I'm telling them straight up how it works. So that way, you know, when I go over the intro, they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense, right? And I go over the sharing the goals with the scholarship, right? All right. I even sometimes used to say like, oh, and the scholarship usually during the fall and spring takes about $25,000 in sales to hit. So if you just want to write a check for 25 grand, I can hook you up with some stuff and we'll be off to the races. I'm just kidding, Ms. Jones. That's like another little push thing as well. All right. So going through it, now we get to features and benefits. So this is where I will use the blue book for this. I'm going to hook you up with a new blue book. All right, beautiful. All right, so features and benefits. And I usually like put it down too. Like I'll do this. So I'm recording. So, hey, before I get into the 5 features that make Cutco the world's finest set of cutlery, I do want to remind you, or I do want to point out that Cutco is extremely expensive because we only use the finest materials to make our products. And a long time ago here at Cutco, we decided that we would rather explain the price of the product once rather than make up excuses for poor quality forever. And the first feature is, and then boom, like, and then you polish and present it, right? But once again, it's saying expensive, right? Because what do we need to do? The whole thing, like, just know this, we need to build the value. That's the whole goal of the demo, right? Understand that when you build their price expectancy, guess what else goes up? The value, right? You don't need to know anything about Rolex to know that it's an expensive, nice, high-quality watch. Why? Because you know it's what? Expensive, right? Same thing with a Bentley, right? I don't know much about Bentleys, but I know it's a very high-quality car because of the price tag. Does that make sense? So when we're talking about expensive materials, expensive products in general, right, we're automatically saying this is probably a good, higher product, right? So every time you build the price expectancy, you build the value. All right, now the guarantee, this is some fire right here. Not to gloat. So, Ms. Jones, many companies produce products with planned obsolescence, meaning their products are designed to fail over a certain amount of time. So consumers end up having to buy more. Now, like buying a phone charger from the gas station, it might only cost you $10, but if it only lasts you a month, after a year, you spend $120 on phone chargers. Now, our philosophy is that we wanted to create a durable product using the finest materials only, a product that will stand the test of time. In fact, we believe in our products so much, Ms. Jones, that Cutco is backed by a forever guarantee. And it's the reason why all of my customers buy, especially people who are smart with their money, because the average married couple replaces their cutlery set 5 to 10 times in a lifetime, and they replace their cookware set 3 to 4 times in their lifetime, and their flatware about 2 to 3 times in their lifetime. And that's why so many of my customers choose to cross off a major reoccurring expense in their lives for the rest of their life. And the quality is awesome. But the major reason why everyone gets Cutco from me is because it lasts forever. And that's why. And then here's the 4 steps or 4 parts to the guarantee. right? So what did we do there? Okay. One, we talked about planned obsolescence, which we don't have in our manual anymore. It was in mine back in the day. And then two, we kind of gave them an example of like how good things aren't cheap, cheap things aren't good, right? We talked about the $10 charger from the gas station. That's like the easiest example for everybody to be like, oh, I've done that before, that was a dumb move, right? And then it hits home when we're like, yeah, it's $120 per year and it's only $10 up front. And what are we comparing to right away, which after we've gone through the junk knife page, they're going to know exactly what comparison we're making. We're making the comparison of, oh, you can buy these $5 to $10, $15 crappy knives from Walmart, but guess what? You're going to continue to have to buy more and more and more and more. They connect that right away with the gas station chargers. And then we talk about our philosophy is to make a durable product, because the reason you want to hit this so hard is because the reason why we are such a great product is the guarantee. The reason why we had to make such a great product is the guarantee. Because if we made a crappy product, guys, guess who wouldn't be around anymore? Cutco. Why? Because it costs money to make them produce the products and fix the products and stuff. And that expense isn't going anywhere. There's hourly workers in the shop, in the factory. They still need to be paid regardless of whether or not Cutco's selling more homemakers. Does that make sense? So what would happen is if our knife only lasted for 5 to 10 years on average and the average person replaced their stuff or got it refurbished after 10 years, well, we would start to move from profit into the red, meaning losing money. And when a company's losing money after a couple of years, guess what happens? Go bankrupt, and they're no longer a company anymore. They're no longer around. That's why it's a big reason that we say, hey, 70 years in the front. When we're building that credibility in the front, we've been around for 70 years, Miss Jones. Because how credible is a forever guarantee if they've been around for 2 years? Not as credible as 70 years. Well, it's like, okay, they've stand the test of time, right? And the reason why is because we use the finest materials that go into the product that allow it to last forever, that allow us to guarantee it to last forever. Okay, but you want them to understand that as much as you now understand that, because then they're going to want it. They're like, damn, I want this product. It could be, a freaking toothbrush, forever toothbrush, right? And they would want it because they know that it is like, wow, it's pristine. It's a nice product. So, and then also like how we seed plan in there as well, like how much they're going to replace it. And these are real numbers, by the way. The average family, replaces their kitchen knives about 5 to 10 times throughout their lifetime. I know we say every like 2 years or whatever, but a realistic number is about 5 to 10 times. Okay. And then the cookware set and all that good stuff. Names and uses. I'm going to make this really short and sweet. There's only 3 things that I do, or, really 2 examples and then a breakdown. So 3 things pretty much I do. Do you guys use the shoes example, golf shoe in the golf? It's like, Miss Jones, if you don't mind me asking, how many pairs of shoes would you say you own? 10? Let me guess. That's because you don't wear your heels to the beach and you don't wear your sandals to the weddings, right?
I say flip-flops to go.
That's cool. All right. So let me guess. You have different shoes for different occasions. Oh, that makes sense. Well, knives are the same exact way. You have different tools for different jobs, and that's important because of safety and efficiency. And if you don't mind me asking, Mr. Jones, like if somebody was going to play a game of golf, do you think they'd want an entire set of clubs or just one club? An entire set. Because if they had one golf club, could you imagine how miserable they'd be by the end of the day? They would hate the game of golf. And that's why some people don't enjoy cooking. It's not because cooking isn't fun. It's not because they don't enjoy it. It's because they don't have the right tools for the job. So it makes it harder on them and less enjoyable. So this is why so many customers choose the homemaker set, because it's the basic set. It's got 7 knives, 2 forks, and a spatula. So it's got the basic tools to get 100% of the jobs in your kitchen done as quickly and efficiently as possible. This is the set for people who don't even like to cook. Later, I'll show you some sets for people who enjoy cooking a little bit. You see, I once again catering. It's like, enjoy cooking a little bit. I'm not going to be like, for customers who love to cook, ultimate and signature, right? I'm like, for people who actually cook a little bit, that's really what I said. So for people who actually cook a little bit, I'll show you some of those set for those people. So this way, they're not even thinking about this set. While we're going through it, we're going to go through it quick, right? We're going to get a yes on each piece, and then we're going to move on, and then we're going to dive in and make the signature and the ultimate seem like the end all be all, right? So that way they're super fired up about that. But we just got from the beginning with that sentence, like the little spark on like, oh, what's next? You know what I mean? Like, I want to see the bigger one, right? Especially Miss Jones is loving that. She's like, yeah, I cook a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of like it a little bit. You know what I mean? Anyways, let's keep going. Oh, yeah, the quick breakdown. So at the very end, I don't know if you guys do the quick breakdown, but it says right before the table knife, it says like, maybe it doesn't say quick breakdown. It's like, hey, do you see how you'd use all these tools in your basic set? Over a lifetime, you use all the tools in your basic set. What I do right before that is say, Miss Jones. So these right here are your everyday knives. You'll use these every single day, whether it be breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You'll use these every single day. So those are your every single day knives. This one is your everyday carving set. You'll use this every night, cooking meals, or for preparing dinner. And then these right here, these are your meal prep knives. So anytime you need to prepare a meal, these are the 3 knives that you're going to use a lot. All right, and then this is just your master carving set. It's kind of like your spare tire, like I said earlier. You'll use this for family occasions like barbecuing and stuff. Now, do you see how over a lifetime you'll use all the tools in your basic set? Because do you see how I made it like pretty much 4 sections? You with me? It looks really, really small. How are we doing on time?
I don't know.
We're doing good, but
Okay. All right. So next thing I want to teach you guys is the tri-close. All right. Beautiful. That's in there. So has anybody ever heard of the tri-close? All right. Cool. Who uses the tri-close? Okay. All right. Cool. So it's very, very simple. Instead of saying, Miss Jones, if you were considering a set of Cutco, would you prefer the one with the table knives? All I did was cross out with the table knives, right? And you say, so Miss Jones, and this is after you've explained the ultimate and the signature, right? You've done the price comparison, right? And then we're back here, right? And so Miss Jones, if you guys were considering a set of Cutco, do you think your family would get more use out of the basic set? You see the basic set? It's like I'm telling them what to say with my face, right? The basic set, our best set, or just family set, right? And you want to have that head nod at the end, okay? And majority of the time, if you do this right, those things that we just talked about, and you give suggestive selling, right? You plant seeds during the names and uses about the bigger sets, right? You should about 80 to 90% of the time have them say, oh, we like the family set. It's much more like it's got more curb appeal, so to speak, right? It's better looking, it's more appealing, right? It's got the traditional cheese knife, the Hardy slicer, and the wife knife. Like those are 3 customer favorites, right? Here's some just side notes. You definitely want to talk about those 3 and make them seem like the end all be all when you go over the signature, right? And then you remind them, it's like, and like, once again, it's all about how you say it, the way they shape it, right? It's like, and Miss Jones, they come with the super shears that everyone loves, right? And you get the 3 different cutting boards. You get the full cutlery care set that comes with the sharpener for straight edges as well, right? That's like 2 extra cutting boards basically, but I just made it sound like it's the most amazing thing ever. You with me? So that's just a side note. I didn't want to spend too much time on that. No, I'm sorry. He's my guy, so I can try it. So, all right. Oh yeah. And let's say they pick the signature or the ultimate. It's going to go back like what I told you earlier. It's like, oh, okay. So, hey, did you like the smaller table knives or the bigger, more traditional, sturdy steak knives? Okay. When you say it like that, guess what they're going to say 9 times out of 10? They're going to say the steak knives, right? All right. Now, after the tri-close, before getting into prices, let me show you. So this is how you'd say, hey, so now before we get into the prices, let me go ahead and show you some of our accessories. Remember what I said earlier. The higher you start, the higher you land, right? And about a quarter of where you start is your landing spot, right? And what you'll sell, your average order. So having known that, what do we want to do for your first time offering it? I want to get a no, honestly. Some of you are like, really? I'd rather sell the kitchen, right? Well, yeah, obviously I'd rather get a yes on that. But the point is that I know I can get a no more times than a yes if I build it really, really high. I just know that it's more times than yes, it's going to be a no. And that's where I'd want it to be. You with me? I want it to be like so big that they say no. And then we can refine it. Like, could you imagine if it was your 5th time dropping down and you're just now getting to the signature by itself? Like, how much would you sell? What would be an average order size then? Probably be somewhere around $1,000. Okay. So you want to do that right before, like, you get the tri-close, right? Let's say they're like, oh, this is the ultimate set. It's like, hey, you want a small table knives, a bigger, more traditional steak knives, right? Okay. The steak knives, hey, great. Hey, before we get into the prices, let me show you some of our accessories, right? You don't want to say, let me show you all of our accessories. Like, let me show you some, or let me show you a few of our accessories, right? But you're going to go through all of them. All right, for accessories, very, very simple. One tip, like, you don't want to go through all of the starter sets, by the way. We just identified from 3 to 1. You don't want to open it up to 7 more, right? And then go back to where we just were. Does that make sense? All right, so you want to go like this. Pull in the back. You're going to look for this little, like, car grill looking thing. It's called a flatware chest. Oh, you got this one in there. Okay. Anyways, this is the page I was looking for, the one with all the knives. Okay, but if you see it right here, you'll see that kind of looks like a car grill, like a Jeep grill, right? So anyways, that's why I remember it. I'm like, oh, okay, there it is, right? And you skip by all the sets, all right? And then you start off with the flatware. We're not going to go into that stuff right now, but you would go through each accessory, and the easiest thing to say is, hey, do you think that this would get some use over the years? Now, I'm not saying, hey, would you use this? Because what is she thinking? Am I going to use that tonight, right? Or am I going to use that today or tomorrow or the next day, right? Hey, would you get some use out of this over the years? You see how we're, once again, painting long-term vision. Like, you're going to have this for a long time, one, and then two, obviously, you know, it's going to last forever. So anyways, do you ever blank once in a while, right? So, hey, do you guys ever have like family dinners every once in a while? Oh, okay, you do? Well, that's why so many customers in your situation get, and I like to use so many customers in your situation, right? And in better case scenarios, like the person that recommended you, right, to that person, if they bought a flatware, right, it's like, hey, that's why Patty got this, you know, the flatware set, right? Because they host family, the Christmas dinners at their house as well, and that's specifically what they got it for, right? And then you would talk about it. You're going to talk more about them as well. The more you know about your products, the more you can talk about them. I'm not here to tell you, like, try and sell you on the flatware here. It's just to kind of give you an overall idea on how you can shape your demo to best fit your customers, cater to them, and, you know, use consumer psychology to help them find what's best for them, but also making sure that they like the things that you're talking about. So one, yes, and move on during like the names and uses, but also with the accessories. Now what you're doing here is you should have a notebook, and you should be, you know, ultimate with steak knives. All right, flatware chest. You're going on to the next one. Hey, now do you guys have cookware? Yeah, let me guess, right? It's like, well, let me tell you a little bit about this one. You'd go off on waterless cookware, and you'd go off on this. Now, do you think that you guys could get some use out of these over the years? Okay, awesome. Do you think you get more use out of, like, you know, the standard set? Actually, that's the standard set. So like the standard set, like a little starter pack, like you see a little starter pack, or, you know, the best set. Okay. Anyways, we're going to keep going. All right. So I can close that pretty much now. One thing I do like to do with my close. Okay. One thing that I do like to do with the close, okay, is once we get all these things on a piece of paper, like all the things that they like, all right, you guys might want to still call the office in. Call the office, get all the prices, but I'm just going to go through if you did not call the office, okay? So how I would have done it if I was on an appointment with you guys right now and you wanted all this stuff. I'm going to go through, grab my price list. I'm going to write the numbers next to each one of them, right? And then I'm going to put it all together. I'm going to add it up, right? And then I'm going to put times 1.07. What does that do?
Tax.
That adds the tax, right? So I want to give the first number as a tax number. Can I write on the back of this? Who wants to hook me up with a pen?
Right here.
Thank you, brother. Okay. All right. So I'm going off strictly just random numbers here. So, and I wouldn't do it this big. I'm doing this big so that everybody in the back can see. All right. And hopefully the video. But yeah, I would usually do it like in a column. So that way I could drop down. Does that make sense? All right. So then deal, let's say that we drop it down to like, okay. All right. And then, all right, so 5K. Man, that's going to be a tough part. 5K on that. Let's just go with 952. Sounds good. Okay. This is how I like it to look. All right. Now, before I go over the prices with the customer, I'll be doing this math. And sometimes I'm sitting there like for like 5 minutes doing this math. I actually enjoyed that part, believe it or not. And one of my favorite parts about the appointments, I don't know about you guys, was catering towards my customer and finding a deal that fits them, right? And like the math side that was like involved in it, right? And like figuring out like, oh, okay, hey, so what do you think we should do, right? And like just catering to them. But one thing I'll do when I'm closing with a customer is I'll get all the things that they liked on that piece of paper. I'll put the normal price down, and then I'm going to go through in depth what they got. Now it depends on what all they got. If they got like 2, you good with that? You want? I don't care. I mean, I got 2 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at. Okay, because I don't care. You want to give me 5? I can talk. So what I'm getting at here is if you have, let's say, an ultimate, the big cookware set, and a flatware chest. Okay, I'm not going to go through each thing that they're getting in each of those 3 things and then all the accessories that they're getting. Right? I'll just say, hey, so you're getting the entire complete set, the best set that Cutco has to offer. You're getting it with the steak knives. They come with 12 of them. And then you're getting the full cutlery care set, and the shears come in the block. And then you're getting the full chest, right? And then the full cookware set, right? And maybe I point out one thing that comes with the double boiler that you really enjoyed, right? And then I'll go through the accessories that they're getting. So, hey, normally all of that product, Miss Jones, and I'll turn it around and I'll say, would cost $6,572. But that's not what you'd be paying today, because now that you know me, I consider you a family friend. And our deal price, we can drop it down to for family friends today, is just $42.72. Right? And that's only $952 over the 5-month plan. Do you see that? Like that's how every single time I go over the 5-month plan. And it's only $952 over the 5-month plan. It's almost like, dude, are you serious? Like, look at the steal, right? Like that, you're like the friend shopping with your friends. Like, come on, dude, let's get this. Right? You should totally get that. Right? Like that's your vibe. That's your mentality there. So it's like just $952 over the 5-month plan. And Miss Jones, you're literally saving over $2,371 today. Side note, notice how the only 2 that are large are this one and this one. Okay. One, because this one's the one that they're not paying, right? The top price, right? And we also put a big cross through it, right? We say the family friend discount, right? $42.72. Okay. $952. $2,371, right? Sounds better when it's not 2,300. All right. So aside from that, what you do then is you just drop down. But remember, the overall idea I was getting at there is you want to start as high as you possibly can, get as many options on a list as possible. And this is the same way with service calls. For when you're doing service calls, you want to do the same exact thing. They already have some Cutco for upgrading. You want to find out what they don't have, right, that comes in the set that they enjoy, right? Like, so say if they have a homemaker, well, then I know that I need to go off on three knives and one the pair of shears, right? If I can get them sold on those, and all I got to do is upgrade them, right? And just sell them the stuff that they don't have yet, right? And then all the accessories, I'm going to get fired up about them. And once again, we want to start as big as we possibly can. It's the same idea on a service call as it is on a demo, right? Get as many things on a wish list, so to speak, as possible. So that way you start higher and you end higher, okay? And then the only other thing I was going to say about that is if let's say it was just a signature set, right? Like you get down to the signature set, then, and I want to do it for all 3 of them real quick. The ultimate, I'm not going to go through every single piece that comes in there. I'm going to say like, hey, so you get the basic set plus each tool has a backup and you get the meat knives as well. So the bigger, heavier duty knives. So your kitchen will be completely checked off as far as kitchen knives go. Right. And then you also comes with the 12 steak knives, the shears that come in the block, and the full cutlery care set. Now, normally, Miss Jones, that would be right. So we want it to make it seem big. That's the overall idea there. We want to make it seem big. But the reason why you don't go through every piece in the ultimate or every like so in depth on the ultimate and then so in depth on the cookware and so in depth on the flatware and so in depth on all the other pieces or all the other accessories when you have like a big list, it's because you don't want them to be like, well, we really don't need 50,000 things. You know what I mean? So you don't want to get them thinking way too like this is way too much. We don't even need all that, right? So when it's something big like that, you go through like, hey, you're getting the best set, which comes with blank and blank, right? That like things that they enjoyed. Right, the flatware, right, boom, with the cookware, right. So it's like really quick. But if you're gonna do just a homemaker, right, and like let's say they were getting the shears and they were buying the shears and getting the entertainer pack for free with buying the homemaker, right. So Miss Jones, not only are you getting all 10 tools that I showed you earlier, right, you're getting the 8 table knives, you're getting an oak wood block, you're getting a cutting board, a sharpener for your straight edges, and you're also getting the entertainer pack that comes with the ice cream scoop, the cheese knife, the vegetable peeler, and the pizza cutter that I know you said you'd use a lot, and you're getting the world famous super shears. Now, normally all of that product would cost boom, 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 right? And then you do that. The reason why you want to do that is because you want them thinking, wow, I'm getting a lot for how much money I'm spending, okay? The reason why you don't do that like all the way in depth with like the big like wish list is because, once again, you don't want them thinking like, wow, I don't need all that stuff, right? And immediately crossing it off. So that's really what I do there. If you implement these things, I'll get this document out to you guys. It has a lot of goods on how to sell the cookware and the flatware as well, which I think you guys are at and gifts. So you guys are at the age where, or not the age, that you guys are at the age in the business to where you can start to actually implement these things and understand what you're saying. So you guys will definitely be able to see some results from those. So sorry for taking a little bit of your time, Patrick, my brother. I will
No, you're good, man.
hand it on over to you.
I need to get it down in 30. I'm curious, do you guys have questions for Brent on his message?
Let him rip.
No, it's fine. Yep. You're sending a document in the WhatsApp, right? Okay, cool. Then
Sweet.
Just for you, though. No, I'm just kidding. Everybody gets it. Thank you so much, Amber. What's up, brother? Sorry, I had to, by the way, tell you because I saw the timing.
Very good. For the steak knives, do you go
Sure.
over those when you go over the Siggy and Ulti? Or like,
Right.
do you go
Okay. That's a
over
great question, by the way, Connor. Thank you, sir. So I don't like I told you how I make the homemaker look really small by going through it pretty quickly, getting one yes and moving on, right? Just like we taught you in AT1. I don't bring out like the I don't bring out the signature set pieces like the cheese knife, the petite santoku, the wife knife, and the hearty slicer until the signature set. Okay. And if you have some ultimate pieces, like I would bring those out during the ultimate, and then so the idea, what I'm getting at here is you want your signature. When you're going over the signature to be about almost as long as the homemaker. You with me? Because what are we trying to sell here? We're trying to sell a signature. We're trying to sell a homemaker. Well, the one that you spend more time on is usually going to be the one that they're more interested in. So that's what I like to do there. Yeah. Good question. Okay. So I'll save the cheese knife. And I used to have roll-ups. Like we had like the black roll-up, but I didn't like it because I used the felts, and I had 3 felts. I would bring a couple of homemaker pieces in the one felt, a couple of pieces for the signature. Well, all the rest of the pieces in the signature, the 3 knives in the signature in one felt, and then like 2 or 3 ultimate pieces in the last felt. So I would like put like a hair tie over one of the felts, so I knew which one, because like there were different sizes, so I could tell the 2 of them between each other, but 2 of them were the same size. So, anyways, I knew which one to grab out of my backpack at different times, and I would always do that. So I would do the homemaker pieces real quick during the homemaker, right? Make it seem really small, use that basic terminology. And then when I got to the ultimate set, I would bring out those ultimate pieces, use some of those stuff, go off on it, right? Make it seem like the end all be all, but really just shaping their mindset on this is the best. Check your kitchen off. That's the idea with the ultimate. And then with the family set, it was like, this is the best set for you if you are a family person. If you don't need the best, you need this. If you don't need the best, you need this, is the kind of concept or the mindset you want your customer leaving with. So good question and answer. Yes. Wonderful. Any other questions? All right, guys. Well, hopefully you guys can sell some more.
All right, let's give Brent a round of applause.